A disclaimer and fair warning before we start. Unlike just about all my other videos, this one is not exactly a feel-good and upbeat vlog where I share my fun adventures with you. This is something deeply personal as a heavy topic that Khrys and I decided to open up about in this story you're about to see, if you so choose.
Did you ever think about maybe coming out with your condition in my videos? Do you remember the party that we had over here a few years ago? The anniversary is actually coming up on January 7th. Wow, how many years has it been already? 4 years? No? Yeah. Yeah, January 7th, just less than a month from now will be 4 years since we got married here. Well, where we had our reception ceremony at least. Got married in a church not far from here. Really beautiful place for that. It's probably worth mentioning that the reason why Khrys hasn't been doing much talking, actually hasn't been doing any talking in the videos lately that I've been shooting, is that, yeah, the roosters are upset about that too. Close to a year ago, on February 29th, 2020, right before the pandemic hit, Khrys was hit with a neurological disorder. And ever since then, she hasn't been able to speak properly or walk safely without a severe risk of falling. Things have definitely changed since then. Now I always have to hold on to her like this to make sure she doesn't fall while standing. Walking is kind of okay, more or less, but just when it comes to standing up, right, it's always a challenge. It's always kind of like a delicate dance that we have to do. We've been going to a lot of therapy. We've been visiting a lot of doctors. Spent 8 days in the hospital. It's been a really challenging time actually. Just didn't really feel like talking about it much, but figured since it's been so long already and we've kind of gotten into the groove of this lifestyle that we're in right now, just thought that this is something that we could actually talk about already.
When she first had the onset of her neurological conditions before getting diagnosed with any of them, she was still pregnant at the time with what was supposed to have been our first child and whose heartbeat we had a chance to see. At the time, we not only had no idea that this was not meant to be, but also the kind of a long-term challenge that we will be both going through. After the hospital treatment, which included hormonal therapy and an MRI brain scan, it was discovered that the aggressive radiation treatment that she received about a decade prior to that to remove a brain tumor left some scarring which remained dormant this whole time, up until it manifested itself at arguably just the worst possible time. Not that there is ever a convenient time for something like this to happen, as this was only the beginning of our still ongoing nightmare. Over the course of the therapy treatments and further testing, she was eventually diagnosed with Central Pontine Myelinolysis, Pituitary Adenoma, and Panhypothyroidism. Each one by itself can be very debilitating, but together form a real storm that is about as difficult to treat as something like the more commonly known Parkinson's disease or a stroke. For 2.5 months after being released from the hospital, the COVID-19 pandemic and the quarantine lockdowns that followed made it completely impossible to receive any ongoing treatment, and this might have only worsened her conditions. But eventually, by early June, we were able to start with the physical, speech, and some occupational therapy. To this day, Khrys is still undergoing regular speech and physical therapy, as she still needs a lot of work in those areas. Only recently, we started coming out of the house to take short walks around our neighborhood in BGC and had our first short trip outside of the city to go visit the family farm in Tagaytay. The road towards recovery will be a long and difficult one, and there is no way to know which way it will take us or just how far. But one thing is for sure, we're in it together every step of the way.
There's a whole regimen of medications that she has to take before breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, and then before going to bed. We were going to physical and speech therapy up to three times a week in St. Luke's Medical Center in BGC. Right now we're just sticking to speech therapy at home with a wonderful specialist that we're doing virtually. You know, since the pandemic is still making things difficult. Yeah, everything is kind of more difficult now because I can't really get out of the house very much, except for...
Sorry, I love.
Oh, sweetheart, don't be sorry. It's nothing for you to be sorry for. It's not your fault. It's just a thing that happened. There's been some slight improvement. She's been able to start speaking a little bit better. At least she's been able to start using her voice a little bit more. Speaking is still a big struggle. Walking has been a little bit better also, but it just when it comes to standing up, yeah, it's always, I always have to have my hand behind her or stand behind her. Well, sometimes she can kind of do it for a little while, but not for long, unfortunately. Sense of balance and coordination with her legs is definitely not right. Yeah, some crazy times. Luckily, Chris's parents have been very helpful. Chris's mom has been coming to visit us very frequently to help us out. Especially any time that I have to go out of the house for a while, when I have to visit Intramuros. That's where the Bureau of Immigration is. You might have seen some of my videos that I shot there before. Also, she's been taking us to the hospital for therapy because she doesn't want us to be dealing with taxis, you know, because of the pandemic and all. So she's been giving us a lift in that car right there. Now this is actually our first outing out of the city. We used to do so much traveling last year. We've been to Cebu, we've been to Boracay, Siquijor, the Magete, and so many other places. But yeah, this year has been, the whole time has been spent just in BGC. It's a really nice opportunity to be able to get out and actually go somewhere. And of course, being able to walk around over here without having to wear a mask is a really nice treat as well. My sweetheart. And so this concludes this story. Been here for 8 days since Sunday before last. It's March 1st, yeah. Now it's already March 9th. And we're getting out of here. This is the couch that I've been sleeping on for every night except for one night when Mom took over. It's been a very interesting time, I have to say.
In addition to the physical mobility issues where Khrys can't get a proper sense of her center of gravity and the lack of coordination with her legs, plus her inability to speak properly due to problems in the muscles in the lower part of her face, to top it all off, she is dealing with an unavoidable depression, which makes everything else all the more difficult to deal with. As with any challenge in life, we're taking everything one step at a time and working as a team no matter the odds. I hope you found this video interesting and sincerely heartfelt. If you can, please do send us your prayers and best wishes, as any positive energy sent our way is greatly appreciated. Please do hit like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Always take care of yourselves and each other, and look forward for notifications of more videos coming at you from the Time-Lapse Traveler.
Yeah, here are some of the saints that I had some moment with.